Someone's been living in my attic. I noticed it first through the scratching above my bedroom ceiling. Faint at first, like fingernails tapping a secret code, echoing between the rafters, deliberately irregular. A rhythm that made my chest tighten. At first, I blamed rats or squirrels, imagining tiny claws, shuffling in the insulation, gnawing. But the movement was too deliberate, intelligent, almost mocking, as though it knew I was listening. The smell arrived next, sour, coppery, like old blood mixed with damp decay, pressing down through the floorboards, lingering in the corners, clinging to the carpet like a second skin. I tried ignoring it. Sleep became impossible. Every creak, thump, and soft scrape made my pulse race, each sound amplified in the dead silence of my apartment. One night, the scratching stopped. In its place, a low, wet thump, irregular and heavy, like someone pacing slowly, deliberately, as though marking my presence, letting me know they were aware. I crept up the attic stairs, flashlight trembling in my hand. The space above was cramped, dusty, but otherwise empty, save for shadows that seemed too thick, too deep, pooling unnaturally in corners. Then I saw it, in the far corner, almost blending into the dark. A form, thin, elongated, limbs bending in impossible angles, head tilting as if studying me, silently mocking my intrusion. A whisper hissed, barely audible, "I'm here." My throat closed. The air in the attic thickened, almost viscous, pressing against my skin, making each breath a small battle. I dropped the flashlight. It rolled across the floor, light bouncing wildly, shadows dancing across the walls. The darkness seemed to pulse, to lean toward me, almost sentient. Scratches appeared on the attic floorboards, jagged and precise, forming patterns I couldn't recognize, symbols or warnings. Tiny letters etched like a grotesque alphabet, only it understood. I stepped back. The figure shifted. Its movements were unnatural, limbs bending in ways my body refused to imitate, slow and deliberate, watching, waiting, testing me. I ran down the stairs. Every step echoed through the house. The figure moved above, silent, a weight pressing down as if the ceiling itself were alive. I grabbed my phone, desperate to record something, anything. No signal. The house swallowed every attempt to call out, every digital scream swallowed by static and silence. I barricaded myself in the bedroom, listening. Scratching, pacing, whispers. It was studying me, amused, curious. My own heartbeat sounded like a drum, too loud, too human. Sleep became a battleground. Dreams filled with crawling shadows, clicking nails, impossible silhouettes stretching along walls that weren't there in waking life. I returned to the attic with trembling hands, inspecting the floorboards. Dust undisturbed, but the scratches remained fresh, carved deeper, mocking. A silent invitation I didn't want to accept. I moved furniture beneath the vent. The scratching persisted, now coming from inside the walls themselves, echoing faintly through light switches, electrical outlets, anywhere it could reach. A shadow flickered across the hallway mirror. For a second, a vaguely human figure, thin, elongated, tilted its head, then dissolved, stretching unnaturally, defying all logic, leaving only a smear of darkness. I tried a broom against the ceiling. It responded. The pace increased. Scratching became rhythmically cruel, almost conversational, like it wanted acknowledgement, a witness to its presence. The vent rattled. A thin, spindly limb dropped down, brushing my shoulder lightly, retracting as though teasing me, a grotesque reminder that I wasn't alone. I bolted outside. Air hit my face. Relief, brief and shallow. The attic window above seemed darker, waiting, a hollow eye blinking slowly in acknowledgement of my fear. The landlord insists the attic was empty. No tenants, no animals, no explanation. He hasn't returned my calls since I moved. I haven't returned. I avoid that street. The apartment exists in my memory, but I feel the weight of that space, waiting even now across distance. Some nights I hear faint scratches in my dreams, whispering from above, reminding me that walls don't contain it, that it only waits for permission I'll never give. I don't know if it follows me or simply observes, but every shadow in every ceiling corner carries the memory of what waits silently above. It doesn't need a home to watch me. It only needs patience, silence, and the space I leave unguarded in my mind. I know I'll never feel safe in my own apartment again. Even now, the memory curls like smoke into my chest, reminding me of the attic and the things that live just above our sight. I've stopped looking up. I've stopped listening closely. But every creak, every draft, every whisper in the house is a potential signal. The attic wasn't empty. I was just invited to notice too late. And it will always be waiting, somewhere above, behind, beyond the walls I trust to hold me. They've been watching me through the walls. I started hearing it at night, faint tapping, like fingernails wrapping the drywall, always in the room next to mine, just out of sight, just out of reason. At first, I thought it was neighbors, a building settling, pipes. But the rhythm was deliberate, almost taunting, like it knew I was listening. I pressed my ear to the wall. There was breathing, not normal human breathing. Shallow, uneven, rasping, with pauses that sounded like laughter. My apartment was quiet. I live alone. I've checked every door, every vent, every crack. Nothing. I tried to ignore it. Earplugs, music, TV. But the tapping followed me, migrating. Every room I entered, it tapped somewhere else. One night, I set up my phone recording. The playback revealed whispers in a language I couldn't identify. High-pitched, guttural, almost humming through the walls themselves. I tried to leave. The moment I reached the stairwell, the sound moved ahead of me, like it anticipated my steps. I asked the landlord if anyone had broken in. No one. The walls were intact. No hidden doors. Nothing unusual structurally. I considered therapy, sleep deprivation, anxiety. But the scratches on the walls, small and deep, told a different story. A reflection in my window caught my eye. A shadow where no one could be, stretching unnaturally along the wall of the apartment across the courtyard. I began leaving lights on, cameras, motion sensors. Nothing showed movement, yet the sounds persisted, sharper, faster, closer. The night I finally confronted it, I pressed my hand to the wall. The tapping stopped. Silence, thick as water, hung in the apartment. Then came the whisper, "You see me?" I jolted back. No wind, no draft, just those words, vibrating through the drywall into my chest. I tore the wall apart where the tapping had been worst. Inside, nothing. Only dust and wires, but something had scraped them deliberately, like claws. Sleep became impossible. Every creak, every thump, every whisper in the building was amplified in my mind. I started leaving doors open. Maybe it wanted permission. Maybe it wanted acknowledgement. One night, a shadow elongated along my bedroom wall, thickening, stretching into a vaguely human form. Its head tilted, watching silently. I froze. My phone fell. Light flickered. The shadow recoiled when I screamed, but only slightly, as though amused. By morning, I found small footprints pressed into dust on the carpet. Too small to be human, too light to press naturally. I packed a bag, left my apartment keys on the counter. I didn't take anything else, didn't care about possessions anymore. Walking out, the tapping followed me into the stairwell. Each step echoed behind me, though no one was there. The front door clicked shut. Silence. For a week, nothing. Then, at 3:17 a.m., a new tap started different. Louder, faster, deliberate. I haven't returned. I haven't reported it. I don't know who or what is behind those walls. Some nights I hear the faintest scratching in my new apartment. Echoes I don't want to trace. Reminders that I'm still being watched. I never trusted the empty spaces. I never trusted the dark corners. I never trusted walls that are supposed to be silent. And I know now, whatever watches, it doesn't need doors. It doesn't need windows. It just waits. Something was living in my basement. I thought the sound was just the pipes at first, a faint scratching, like nails on wood, echoing beneath the floorboards of my apartment. Then I noticed the smell. It was metallic, coppery, and sharp, crawling up my nostrils in a way that made my stomach turn. I should have gone to sleep. Instead, I crept to the basement door, flashlight in hand, every step shaking the thin wooden floor. The light barely reached the bottom. Shadows clung to corners, twisting in ways that seemed almost alive, almost hungry. A low, guttural rasp came from beneath the stairs. I froze. It didn't sound human, but it imitated it, almost like laughter, almost like whispering. I took another step. Something skittered along the far wall. My flashlight caught a glint of teeth, or nails, something thin and crooked, moving too fast to fully see. I stumbled backward, heart hammering. The sound grew louder, rhythmic, like something pacing or stalking me through my own basement. I tried to call out. My voice faltered, hoarse, swallowed by the echo. It responded with a series of clicks, tapping, like it knew I was there. A shadow detached itself from the corner. It moved unnaturally, limbs bending in ways a human shouldn't. But the outline was vaguely humanoid, thin and sharp. I could hear it breathing, wheezing, rasping, a sound that scraped against the walls like sandpaper. I turned the flashlight to the side. A pile of something small shifted. Teeth, eyes, or just objects? I couldn't tell, but movement suggested life. I stepped backward again, tripping over a box. My foot hit the cold cement. Something brushed against it, fast, sharp, cold as ice. I scrambled upright, but the shadow was closer. It had no face, just a smear of dark shape that bent impossibly, reaching toward me. I stumbled toward the stairs. Every sound behind me was amplified. A scuffle, a rasp, nails dragging, something heavy and wet. I tried the door. Locked. I didn't lock it. Someone or something had done it. Panic clawed at my chest. The shadow lunged. Not like a person, more like the air itself had grown teeth and claws. I slammed the door shut and pressed my shoulder against it. I held my breath. Nothing moved. The echo of clicks faded. My pulse rang in my ears. I leaned down to inspect the floor. There were scratches, deep, almost deliberate, like it wanted me to see its mark. I tried to convince myself it was rats or a neighbor's cat, but the size, the rhythm, the intelligence in the movement, none of it made sense. I grabbed my phone, trying to dial 911. No signal. The basement swallowed every attempt. A whisper hissed at the door. Get out. Or was it in my head? I don't know, but I felt it. I kicked the door, breaking the lock. I ran upstairs, stumbled over furniture, hearing the wet thump of something massive falling behind me. I reached my apartment door, keys shaking in my hand. Something in the basement groaned, long, deep, like metal bending. I slammed it shut, locked it, bolted to my car. I never looked back. At home, I tried to rationalize. Pipes, old wood, imagination. But scratches on the basement door, jagged and deliberate, told another story. I've since moved out. The apartment is empty. The landlord says no tenants live there. I've called, inquired, checked the building plans. Nothing explains what lived beneath my floorboards for weeks, pacing and watching. Sometimes at night, I hear the clicks in my dreams. A whisper in the dark, something waiting. And I realize It might still be down there, waiting for someone else to notice the noises, the smell, the scratches, the warning signs. I found a stranger living in my closet. The first night I slept alone in my apartment, I noticed a faint, musky smell that didn't belong. It lingered in the corners, a mix of old wood and something almost sweet but wrong. I shrugged it off as the building settling and unpacked some boxes. Yet every creak sounded sharper, like footsteps echoing just beyond my vision. When I opened the closet to hang a jacket, the door made a soft click, subtle, deliberate, and I froze, staring at the wood as if it might speak. The next morning, my clothes were rearranged, shirts folded differently, shoes aligned perfectly toward the door. Nothing else touched. I checked everything, but no sign of intrusion. I set up a small camera hidden near the closet, hoping to catch a shadow or movement, but the footage remained blank. Yet the smell persisted, stronger than ever. A week passed. Small scraps of paper began appearing between my coats, messages scrawled in pencil. Watch, don't sleep, look closer. Each note made my skin crawl instantly. I called the police once, trying to explain the strange smells, the notes, the rearranged clothes. They found nothing. I was left with my fear alone. The following night, soft breathing came from the closet, low and deliberate, steady, almost human, yet impossible to locate. My heart pounded, my body frozen. I sat in the living room with the lights on, ears straining, every shadow dancing as if alive. A chill ran down my spine repeatedly, unshakable. I tried to sleep elsewhere, piled blankets in front of the closet, yet each morning, my shoes were perfectly aligned again. The small objects I left overnight had been moved. Notes increased in number, cryptic and messy. See, don't see, it knows. I stopped sleeping, afraid of what might emerge if I closed my eyes. One night, I heard a soft scratch, deliberate, rhythmic, coming from inside the closet. I shone a flashlight. Nothing, yet the sound continued, closer than possible. I began documenting everything, smells, notes, movements. But the more I recorded, the more the presence seemed aware, almost interacting with my attempts to monitor it. Footsteps echoed faintly around the apartment, slow and deliberate, never outside my doors, always from within, always disappearing when I approached. I found small fingerprints on the inside of the closet door frame, fresh and smudged, though no one had been in there. I began to panic. I set up additional cameras, every corner of the apartment now monitored. On the screens, nothing moved, yet I could feel it observing me, waiting. Every object I left deliberately on the floor shifted overnight. Keys, pens, small notebooks, lined up meticulously as if marking territory. I spoke to friends about it, but their disbelief only deepened my isolation. I felt trapped, constantly aware, constantly watched. The notes escalated. Full sentences appeared. I know you. You cannot hide. Written in the same messy, almost childish handwriting. I slept with all lights on, my body coiled, every creak making me jump, every whisper in the shadows, real or imagined, keeping me on edge. A soft click came from the closet. I didn't move, paralyzed, and then silence, deeper than before, settled over the apartment. In the following mornings, my closet door showed marks, faint scratches I had never noticed, each one a perfect line, deliberate, purposeful. The smell became overpowering, sweet, metallic, decaying at once, lingering in my hair, clothes, and sheets. I could not ignore it. I attempted to leave, but something held me there. The notes appearing faster, more urgent, warnings I could not comprehend. I tried calling for help, recording everything, even sleeping with my phone on. But each night, the breathing came closer, heavier, colder. One night, I saw movement in the corner of my eye, crouched inside the closet, impossible to focus on fully, but undeniably there. I blinked, and it vanished. I ran every light in the apartment, shone flashlights, yet the space felt occupied, watched, alive. The presence grew bolder, leaving objects arranged in ways that made no sense, creating shapes, patterns, warnings I could not interpret. I realized I could never be alone again. Even when I left, the apartment felt alive, waiting for me to return, always attentive. The closet became an obsession, a silent heartbeat of the apartment, knowing, breathing, and watching while I could only survive outside. I moved out finally, taking only essentials. But the memory, the smell, the whispers, they followed me. Even now, in new apartments, I sense a gaze from shadows, faint movements behind doors, a reminder of what once shared my home. Something had lived there. Something had known me intimately. I will never forget it, and I will never be alone in my own space again. My neighbor watches me from the vent. The first time I noticed it, a faint thump echoed above my ceiling. I thought it was old pipes settling, nothing more. Then small items began disappearing. Mail, shoes, pencils, trivial but deliberate. My anxiety grew. One night, I found a sketchbook on my doorstep. Inside were detailed drawings of my apartment, every corner mapped, every window labeled. The last page had a message scrawled in messy pencil. I can see everything. I assumed it was a prank until I heard tiny scratching sounds near the vent above my bed. I placed my ear close. Slow, deliberate breathing. Almost human, almost patient, but something unervingly wrong about it. I set up a camera aimed at the vent. The footage revealed faint movement. A pale figure crouched, long limbs pressed against the metal grate. Its head tilted unnaturally, like it was studying the lens, observing me directly without being fully human. I attempted to block the vent with pillows and blankets. They were moved by morning, folded in meticulous patterns. Small objects appeared outside the vent. A feather, a button, a pencil, arranged symmetrically, as if marking territory. Notes started appearing. Look closer, you cannot hide, each scrawled in shaky handwriting, almost childlike, almost sinister. I tried sleeping elsewhere, but the scratches and faint whispers followed, as if the apartment itself had become alive. I began noticing shadows that shouldn't exist, stretching across walls, bending corners, lingering near the vent in impossible ways. The breathing grew heavier at night, echoing through the pipes, synchronized in ways that mimicked my heartbeat. One evening, I peeked into the vent and saw a distorted, crouched figure staring back, limbs bent at impossible angles. Its skin was pale, rubbery, eyes dark and unblinking, watching my every move. I blinked, and it vanished. Yet the scratching continued, slower now, deliberate, as though it was learning patience. I documented every incident, every note, every movement. The patterns made no logical sense, yet seemed purposeful, almost ritualistic. Furniture shifted subtly overnight. Chairs aligned, shoes facing the vent, small items perfectly placed, like a silent warning. The sketches became more frequent, slipped under my door, detailing new angles of my bedroom, my living room, areas I hadn't noticed it could see. One night, the vent clicked, and a low whisper slithered from inside. I'm here. Lights flickered as if the building itself was alive, shadows stretching unnaturally, dancing on walls that should have been still. I attempted to flee, staying at friends' apartments, but tiny feathers, buttons, even sketches appeared in my bag the next day. I realized this entity was not confined to the apartment. It was aware, omnipresent, following, patient, waiting for me to return. I moved out finally, leaving everything behind, yet the sense of being watched persisted in every new space I occupied. Even now, the faintest thump, scratch, or whisper makes me freeze, remembering the long limbs, tilted head, and unblinking dark eyes. The vent had become a gateway, a way for something grotesque and intelligent to observe, bend reality, and exist partially in our world. I avoid vents now, but every apartment has them. I can't unsee what I saw, can't unhear the whispers, the soft, deliberate breathing. The sketches, objects, and notes are gone, but the memory persists, a permanent shadow hovering at the edges of perception. Even in the quietest rooms, I feel eyes watching, waiting, and I know some things never truly leave once they've learned you exist.